What is up, my friends? It is Sunday evening's Anfield Agenda transfer news roundup, and today we're going to focus on the attacking end of the pitch as we discuss RODRYGO, Alexander Isak, and a couple of other bits and pieces that should keep you as up to date as we can be with just over 1 week to go in this summer's transfer window. Once you've watched the video, you know I'd love to know your thoughts, so do let me know in the comment section. Drop a like if you enjoy it, and don't forget to revisit us tonight at 8:45 for the late night agenda, where we will take you through all of this in more detail, as well as, of course, having a chat around tomorrow's game. Our coverage of it will start from 6:45 p.m. right here. We'll be doing our watch along, our match reaction, our player ratings as always. If you would like to be included in our player ratings video and submit yours, make sure that you join the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp group, as that is where Connor now posts the link to upload those player ratings. Right, ladies and gentlemen, loads to get into. So I'm going to start off with Ian Doyle and his take on the Alexander Isak situation. He said Isak looks like he'll come to Anfield sooner rather than later, and there have certainly been signs of Newcastle's resolve weakening in recent days. Might a £130 million bid sort it out? It wouldn't be a shock. But, of course, that's the Liverpool side of it. Things are sounding very different on the Newcastle side of it. Now, I will say, from my reading of what I'm about to, read out to you here from Luke Edwards, I think he's softening a little bit. But Craig Hope, he seems quite firm in his belief that Isak could be reintegrated into that Newcastle team. Let's start off with Luke Edwards and what he's had to say. Newcastle's owners set out their position at the start of the summer. And I will stress again, the owners came up with this plan. The asking price for Alexander Isak was set at such a high level, we're talking in excess of £150 million, that it was designed to send the message that he wasn't for sale. Understand that so far, no problems from what Luke said there. This may sound contradictory, but this is the PIF's view. We don't need to sell, we don't have to sell, and we will not sell. Unless somebody pays ridiculous money well above market value, it has not changed for months. If they alter this stance now, it will have made everything up to this point a charade. They will have buckled. I've been told that will not happen since March of this year, and in May, and again in June and July. It is still the owner's position on August 24th. Had they signed Ekitike or Sesko, I think it might have changed, but they didn't. Howe has repeatedly said for more than a week they're trying to sign one striker now, a replacement for Callum Wilson. 8 more days. Now, he used the word charade there, and to me, that's what this has all felt like. Newcastle's owners, from the outside, seem more intent on not looking weak than actually doing what is right for the club. And what I would say here to Newcastle fans is, that's not a good trait to have in owners. Ones who are seemingly willing to cut their nose off despite their face. If they hold on to Isak, they've proved nothing, like I've said all the way through. But what they have proved in this transfer window is that they aren't right behind the scenes, they haven't got the recruitment team set up to bring in the targets that Eddie Howe needs, and that they seemingly can push Newcastle onto the next level. That's how I see it from the outside, and I'm sure non-Liverpool fans may or may not agree with me, but that is the view from a lot of people within football, particularly from the agent world. Craig Hope of the Daily Mail has had this to say on the Isak situation. Speaking with Sky Sports, he said, "My information now is that Alexander Isak is going nowhere." Now, I'm more leaning towards the Ian Doyle side of this, where I do think Newcastle's stance is starting to weaken. Whether Isak plays for them or not in the future is something that only Alexander Isak can answer to. The Daily Star Sport has said this around the situation. As it stands, Alexander Isak has no plans to reintegrate into the Newcastle squad. So again, if you're Newcastle's owners, regardless of whether you sell to Liverpool or not, this whole charade, to use Luke Edwards' term, is not going away. It is only going to rumble on. It is only going to destabilise the club, the fan base. Eddie Howe is going to be in every column inch between now and January when Liverpool will come back in, and we will eventually get Isak. Not because we're some big club that get everything that we want, but because that's what the player wants, that's what Liverpool want, and eventually that will come to fruition. So why keep a player that may not even play, that will certainly destabilise the dressing room and cause a lot of headaches to that Newcastle fan base and their owners? For what? To prove a point? Again, like I've said, they haven't won in this, they can't win in this, there is no winning in this. It is just a matter of, does common sense prevail? Moving on to Craig Hope, again of the Daily Mail, he said, the Liverpool versus Newcastle fixture has had no relevance on the Alexander Isak deal, but this deal only happens post-game. It has always been about the replacements. If Newcastle had signed Ekitike or Sesko, then I believe Isak would have been a Liverpool player. But again, this is just rewriting history. Liverpool approached Newcastle to buy Isak when Hugo Ekitike was still on the market. Everybody knew, Newcastle knew, Liverpool fans knew, we all knew that if we couldn't have gotten Isak at that moment, what was going to happen next, which was we moved on to Hugo Ekitike. If Hugo Ekitike knew Liverpool wasn't an option, maybe he would have gone to Newcastle. But make no mistake about this situation is a problem entirely of Newcastle's own making. He's also said if Newcastle get the replacement, around 130 million could do it. So as you can see, more contradictory posts there from the likes of Craig Hope and Luke Edwards. And it is just becoming a case of somebody's going to look very foolish at the end of this. And to be fair to Craig Hope, he hasn't dug the hole anywhere near as deep as Luke Edwards has. But let's see what happens over the remaining days. So Ian Doyle speaking about RODRYGO, and this kind of, I guess, backs up my own thought process on this one. He said, talk of RODRYGO of Real Madrid appears agent-driven and his reported financial package wouldn't make much sense for the Reds. That's kind of always been my take on it. I like RODRYGO as a player, and a lot of people now starting to write no plan B for Liverpool. I want to just give you my take on this situation, upfront and honestly. I understand Liverpool may be wanting to wait for Isak, but it is really clear to me and many Liverpool fans that if we do not get a forward in this week, we have caused a massive problem for ourselves for the season, a problem entirely of our own making because of the amount of sales we've made in that position. Writing off half of the season or more to wait for Alexander Isak isn't acceptable. Liverpool need a top caliber forward before the window shuts at 7 p.m. on September the 1st. End of conversation. Any approach or any angle that tries to make out like we'll be okay and we shouldn't panic is absolute nonsense. We made this hole, we've got to fill it in. We knew going into this window what we needed to do. We continue to sell attacking options. We have brought in one. I'm going to repeat that, folks. We have brought in one attacking option. Not good enough. It needs to be resolved by the end of the week, or we aren't going to retain this Premier League title, in my opinion. And the rest of the transfer window will have been hugely undermined. That has always been my take on it, and that is my take on it right now. Do let me know what you think. And to finish on a bit more of a light-hearted note, let's have a little laugh again at Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, as they are about to take to the pitch as I record this. 28 games into Ruben Amorim's career in the Premier League with Manchester United, 27 points. Less than 1 point per game. Once again proving that Manchester United are very much keeping their spirits high here as Liverpool fans. Right, ladies and gents, that's it for me for now. I'll see you tonight at 8:45. We'll go through it all, and most importantly, I will be gauging your opinion on what do you think if we do not get another forward in. Entirely unacceptable in my opinion. I understand waiting for Isak, like I've said, but we need another forward before. That's my take on it. Now it's over to you. Much love. Bye-bye.